Welcome everybody! We're gonna have another build guide for last epoch today. This is gonna be a Necromancer. We're working some cold minions here. I promised my stream that I would do a build guide for this build. Let's do an Echo first. We are 223 corruption here. Got a couple modifiers as well stacked. This is not an endgame build, but we do take advantage of some cool new mechanics and some experimentation affix. So I really like that the playstyle, and it's very nice for clearing, as you can see. I used it to farm a few things here and there. We are teleporting our minions with the new experimental affix with us after every transplant. We also getting zombies out of healing potion usage, and we are using the harvest melee skill from Acolyte to actually pop the Apogee effect. So we're getting more damage multiplier from that, and we also give our minions frenzy for 8 seconds. We also freeze a lot of things around us when we do that. So yeah, it's a pretty cool build. Alright, very nice, very nice. I really like it for monolith farming. It's not a high-end build. Don't expect to push 4, 5, 600 corruption with it unless maybe you get some insane gear. But it's a different type of build. It's very interactive playstyle as well, which I really liked. So yeah, let's check out a little bit the build on the build planner. This is of course gonna be linked on the description. Let's start with the gear. There are 3 uniques that you would like to have on this build for sure. One of them is Apogee Frozen Light, of course. One of them is Aaron's Will, and one of them is Frozen Ice or Formosus. Apogee give us a lot of more damage multipliers and +3 to cold minion skills, which is really nice. Aaron's Will, of course, allows us to summon extra golems based on the maximum skeletons that we can summon. We, of course, cannot use any skeleton minions, so that's the downside, let's say. And Eye of Formosus provides us with a very high minion freeze rate multiplier per steel stack on the enemies. Our offhand is Lichcorns. This one is mainly for converting our Dreadshade into cold. That means the flat damage from Dreadshade becomes cold, so we scale it a little bit easier. And of course the 1% cold penetration from minions per intelligence. That's why we need a healthy amount of intelligence in the build. I'm also using Raven's Rise. Don't pay attention to the LP here. I only have the hybrid health, just so I can clarify that this is most important to get. If you happen to have Raven's Rise with 1 LP, you can also get minion damage, of course. In the Apogee, if you get one with LP, you're getting minion spell damage that scales our skeletal mages. Aaron's Will with LP is actually quite rare as well. It doesn't matter, you don't need it for the build, but if you do, try to put critical strike. You can also get increased health if you want to increase your survivability on it. And Eye of Formosus, of course, minion damage. If you happen to have 2 LP on this, because it's relatively easy to farm this item. It drops from the Blood, Frost and Death monolith boss. You can also aim for hit points on it, or maybe minion health. That's also very good. Now the rest of the gear, on the helmet, Immortal Clown is probably the best helmet base for this build, because we're getting a little bit cooldown recovery rate for our transplant, and also the minion cooldown recovery rate for our frost golems for their special ability. You want critical strike chance for minions, you want minion freeze rate multiplier, and if you can seal +1 level to summon golem, that's pretty nice, but it's not anything mandatory. On the suffixes, just health, crit avoidance. If you don't have it on your ring, you are capping your crit avoidance with a tier 5 crit avoidance on one of your items, and the blessing that we're gonna talk about later. Now, on your rings, you need turquoise rings. That's the standard minion rings. You need indulgence, minion damage, health, and endurance, and basically the same for both of them. If you have exalted indulgence, that's also very good, but anything exalted out of the indulgence, minion damage, and health is completely fine for the build. Rune Bones is our relic. Again, minion damage, indulgence, health. We also need one suffix for poison resistance. That's one of the resistance that we need to get on our gear. So you can do it on your relic or one of your rings and move endurance here. That's completely fine. Solarum Greaves, just because it's the highest armor base, and fire resistance is pretty good for us. You're getting vitality here because we do need a little bit of vitality on the build. We will explain that later. Movement speed, health, hybrid health, and you also want the new experimental affix, minion damage, and minions teleported around you. It would be nice to have it at least tier 5, but you can use a lesser tier as well. I only have like a tier 2 or something like that. It doesn't really matter. It is better to have a tier 5 or tier 6 because that way you're gonna be teleporting all your minions with you. That means your Dread Shade is always gonna be there on you as well because it is affecting you as well. So you're getting more defenses out of your Dread Shade as well. The belt, you want the experimental affixes to summon volatile zombies on potion use. You want minion damage, minion health, and as much health as you can get on the suffixes. The idols are pretty simple on this. We can use a couple of grand idols with minion cold damage on the prefix and physical resistance on the suffix. This is actually where we're getting our physical resistance. If you get 2 good rolls, you can have about 55 to 60% physical resistance, which is really, really nice. And the rest are just large immortal idols. You want 1 or 2 suffixes for Mark for Death, that's really important. And the rest you can get minion critical strike chance. Alright. You can also get life. So if you get a very high roll on a suffix life, that's very, very acceptable as well. Let's move to the blessings. Pretty simple. Black of the Sun, we're getting the void resistance. Reign of Dragons, we're getting crit avoidance. This is where you're gonna need a little bit of a decent roll depending on the roll of the tier 5 crit avoidance you have on your gear. Spirits of Fire, flat armor. Edge of Winter, increased armor. And Ending of the Storm, you're either getting the flat mana or the light resistance depending on what you need on the build. It's not a very important blessing, but it is there to help you nonetheless. Now let's move to the passives real quick. As per usual, on the passives and on the skill trees, I'm having everything recorded, so if you decide to level up with this build, you know what's important and what to take early levels until level 100. So let's talk about the Acolyte passives here. We're getting 7 points on the Intelligence and Necrotic Resistance, 5 points on Dark Rituals, this is a pretty powerful one. 8 points here, get a little bit of Vitality and Minion Health, and this we get a little bit later, Soul Ages, to beef up our minions with a little bit of armor. Now, for the Necromancer, 8 points on the Ryzen army, we're getting 3 points here to activate Minion Threat Chance, this is really important and very strong. We're just traveling here to get the maximum number of skeletons. We need +1 skeleton from our tree. We either get this one or this one. This is a little bit faster, so you can use it on your leveling as well. So I'm going for that one. These points are here are extremely important. All of them are a lot of damage for our minions. And this one in particular is also our leads on crit. That's why we want to scale crit as much as we can on the build to have better leads and better sustain for our minions. Also, the 100% minion freeze rate multiplier is really good. This is one very powerful node. A lot of elemental and necrotic resistance and a lot of elemental damage for our minions. Now, in order to beef up a little bit, we're getting our increased health here. We are buffing our minions with resistances here and a little bit of vitality for ourselves. We are getting extra armor out of this one per minion we control, and +1 skeletal mages to finish up. Now let's take a look at the skills. We're gonna go through Bone Golem first. Pretty standard Bone Golem things. We're getting attack speed and movement. We're traveling here. This is one of the things that we want vitality. Basically, our golem hits restore their life and our own life, and it scales per vitality, so this is really important. We're getting the threat generator here, maxing out the melee cold damage, very good, and also the enemies get chill when they hit our golems. This is what makes the golems become cold, and also they're getting the freezing grasp ability, which has 6 cooldown. It's basically a cold nova around them, and this is what makes the freezing grasp a little bit more potent with the vitality. Now, the last 4 points, I'm having them here. This is spell damage. It only gonna benefit the freezing grasp. If you don't want it, you can go for extra health and armor. You can give more movement speed to your golems and to their minions. You can give armor to your other minions. It's up to you. Those 4 points are very flexible. You can do whatever you want with them. Now let's go to the skeletal mages. We're starting over here. We're making them cryomancers. We are disabling all the other mages here. This is a big freeze rate multiplier for the mages. We're getting 4 points here so that they can get 2 extra projectiles all the times. 20% cast speed. This is base crit and movement. We don't need more points here. We are capping their crit with 3 points. This is crit multi, and also they're getting extra health on crit, so we are increasing their sustain, and we're getting +1 skeletons here. Now, one of the most important ones, of course, Dreadshade. We're getting the extra flood, which actually turns into cold flood. Increased area, and we are activating Lone Watcher, so we only have 1 Dreadshade active, but it doesn't drain our minions as well, which is really good. Increased attack speed and cast speed for our minions, very strong. 100% area here and 60% more damage. And we are getting symbiotic apparition. The aura affect us mainly to get the martyrdom buff. This is one other reason we are scaling vitality on the build, because we're getting armor per vitality. So Dreadshade is not only a huge damage buff for our minions, it's also a very good defensive buff for our minions and for ourselves, most importantly. Let's go to the skeletons. Now, once you have Aaron's Will, the only 3 things you need on the skeletons is +1 maximum skeletons here, +1 here, and +1 here. If you decide to level up with skeletons, I do have it spec'd as you should go. You're using archers by disabling warriors here. We also making them firing ice arrows because we are scaling cold damage on the build, and you're getting a little bit damage out of them. Archers are not very good, they're a little bit squishy, but they do provide a lot of armor strength stacks for our build early on before we get our gear on. The last part of this build is harvest. Now, there is one very simple reason we're using harvest. We need 1 melee attack to activate our Apogee of Frozen line, the last line on this unique. We need 1 minion to die. That's why we are producing zombies out of our potions. The zombies attack, they die, and then we are attacking with our harvest, and we're activating the Apogee effect. It's a pretty strong effect. We're giving Frenzy and 24% more damage to chilled enemies, which they are always chilled, for 8 seconds to our minions. So it's a very, very powerful effect. That's why we're going through harvest. Now we are getting the base crit and a little bit of crit here, and also some movement speed when we're critting. The reason we are going this route is this node over here. So basically whenever we are critting with our harvest, we're giving 250% crit chance to our minions for 4 seconds. Because the affixes on our gear give crit to our minions and ourselves, and with those points here, we are actually having a pretty significant critical strike chance on our harvest, so we're gonna be critting a lot. Now we're also taking addend harvest, that makes it so that we are getting 5% more damage for our minions on the skill, which is pretty good, and we're getting 12% kill threshold, which is always a nice bonus to have on any build. So that's it for the skills as well. Just a few things about the build. I haven't really min-maxed this build as much as I wanted. I kind of felt all my crafts. You can see here I haven't capped my endurance first, and I still need a little bit crit avoidance. I have some pieces like this one and my rune bones, my belt, and yeah, that are very, very bad. The build is pretty potent to farm about 200 to 250 to 300 corruption. That's a pretty decent corruption for a Necro build. Unfortunately, Necro doesn't get a lot of defensive layers, so our life pool, our endurance, and our dread shade for extra armor is our defense layers. But we do have very decent resistances. We can hit decent hit points, as you can see. Also, as an option, I'm giving you Fond of the Erased. If you hit something really good here, I have life and minion damage, so I'm using that. You can have minion damage and intelligence and a little bit of life, or crit avoidance to cap your crit avoidance. It's a good option to always have on a build. If you push this build further than I have, please let me know. I want to hear what you think. And it's a pretty fun build. I really like the playstyle. It's an active minion build, which I really enjoy. I had a lot of fun with it, and I might revisit it in the future as well. Try to push it a little bit more and see what we can do with it. But yeah, this is more of a fun build. It's not a high-end game build, but I know a lot of people like Necromancers, and I also like some minion builds from time to time. So I thought I would put out a guide and to see what you guys think about it. If you have any questions about the build, as always, you can visit me on live streams on Twitch. My channel will be down on the description, and you can ask me any questions you have. You can discuss there about the build. And of course, if you have any feedback about the build, I would really love to hear it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.